So you're an artist and you love art and you want to sell your art online. You see other people doing that, you want a piece of that cake. I have excellent news for you, you can do that. But Jackie, how do I find the confidence to do that? Delusion. I know starting to sell your art online is a really big step. I remember when I first started, I was scared nobody would care about anything that I wanted to sell. I didn't have the confidence. I felt like salesy and inauthentic. But after various versions of selling my art online for the past 10 years, I feel like I have enough knowledge to share how I started out, what I discovered really did work for my store, what was a total failure, and give you some insight on how you can get started selling your art online. And this video is sponsored by one of the ideas I'll be talking about later, and it's Printify. So let me tell you about my first taste of success as a teenager. So back in my Tumblr days, I was a weird teenager and one of my drawings went viral, which is a really big deal in 2013. There weren't that many viral things online. And as a 16-year-old, I'm like, how can I capitalize on this? So I used a print-on-demand service to sell my super cringe viral art. And for never making money before in my life, not having any tools to manufacture anything, not knowing the first thing about shipping, this worked for me. So I rode on that momentum for a while and racked in like a few $100, which is insane for me, a teenager. In 2013 from a drawing I posted. My sister even bought mugs from my own product line. It was my first taste of making money as an artist, and obviously the hype died and then I deleted everything from existence online. Okay, fast forward, I'm in art school. At this point, I have around 20,000 followers on Instagram. I've been selling fan prints and original ink drawings at fan conventions locally, and I have some leftover product. So I decided to print my first zine and I opened an Etsy. I was super worried about falling on my face with this. I was super embarrassed. Why am I doing this? Nobody wants to see my art printed. I don't know anything about shipping at all, but surprisingly, they all sold out. I printed 20, it's not a lot, with just my school printer, and I sold out within that year. I don't know exactly when, which doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, for my first book that I've ever printed, it was super hype. I made $285, broke college student no more. So in the following years, I'm making a little bit more money on Etsy. I find my big prints do really poorly because of the high cost of shipping from Canada. And I find that my stickers, specifically my Overwatch stickers, are doing really well, probably because shipping is so cheap and it's getting bumped by the Etsy search engine. But it definitely was not worth it since I was cutting every single one of those stickers by hand. But what I found did work well was my original drawings, my original ink drawings, mostly fan art. So I really leaned into that and I priced them super low so they would sell out basically when I posted them. I realized some products are just not worth the time and the cost of making them. Like these postcards, I had to round the corners myself. I had to cut and label and tape the label onto each set of postcards. And I had to count for the printing of 5 postcards just for one product. And then I only made 6 sales total. So for the 6 years that I was selling my work on Etsy, I really was finding out what did well, what didn't do well, what was worth it, and what wasn't worth it. I've always wanted a really successful store like the ones I see online, but in the end, my store was always really mediocre and only really made a few $1,000s a year, which is really not that much considering the amount of time and effort I was putting into it. I thought I would start a print club tier on my Patreon since I've really admired Siblings Print Club, which is always sold out and she's always making new prints every month. So for almost 2 years, I did that. I made a new illustration every month. I printed it off. I packaged all of them and I shipped them off every single month. But I think the most members I had was 20, maybe 25. And the cost and the time I was putting to that did not reflect the profits I was getting from it. And it was a really sad day when I turned in the towel and I realized that it was just not working for me and I had to stop. What sells, what doesn't sell, and what's worth the cost. So a couple years ago, I switched over to my own online selling platform on Squarespace, and I'll tell you a little bit about that decision later. So here I had a very sexy storefront and I was really able to customize my brand. And this is where I sold my first art book, which was a huge success, so successful that I made 2 more art books, and I'm planning to continue doing that. At the launch of these art books, I'd be packing like dozens of orders every single day. And now my shop's not really, how do I say, like, it's not doing that well. I barely sell like originals and prints. If I sell something, it's just my art books. So I don't even know if having prints and originals is worth keeping on my shop, but they're there for now, and then we'll see how it goes. So now that the dust is settled, I send out a batch of orders like every few weeks, which is fine because I know my big ticket items are like when my book launches, or when I host a workshop, or sell portfolio reviews, or mentorships, wink wink, check back in September. So over the past 10 years, I've tried it all. I've tried, failed, tried, succeeded. It really doesn't happen overnight. So now that you've heard of all my successes and failures, take that into yourself and learn from my mistakes. And now you have the wisdom to see what you think you can sell in your own store. Okay, but how do you actually start your first store? No worries, let's go through the basics. I'll be your big sister here. So what platform is best for selling your art? A shop like Etsy, Shopify, or your own platform? Etsy and Shopify are great places to start. On Etsy, there's a small sign-up fee, but they also have famously high fees for every sale and every listing that you have. But this could be fine if you're just starting out and don't sell that much. And Etsy's search engine and homepage also helps you get views on your stuff. And it helped me get views on my Overwatch stickers. Shopify has a monthly fee, but has better customization and branding options. Basically, if you're starting to be more established and make more sales, you'll keep more of your profits if you're not paying those high Etsy fees, and you can move over to Shopify. And once you're even more established, you could start your own website like me. I use Squarespace and I only pay the yearly commerce fee, and then I keep the rest of the profits. And it's cleaner and looks more professional than the previous options. Okay, so next question, how do you manufacture your products? Okay, there's a few options here. You can either make it yourself, ship it yourself, you can outsource and manufacture your products in bulk and then ship it yourself, or you can use a print-on-demand service. So option one, you buy a nice printer and you print all of your prints yourself and then you sell it. A few of my friends have done this, but I really think that they probably sell more prints than I do. It's really about weighing that upfront cost and labor. Will you pay off that printer ink with your sales? If so, when? Is figuring out how to work a printer worth it to you? For me, it's not. I would rather not have to think about that. But if you're a more hands-on person, then this could be a great option for you. Option two is printing your prints off at a local store, picking it up yourself, and then mailing off your products when you get the orders. This is what I typically do. The cost of printing is low and I don't have that much inventory. Although ordering my books in bulk is obviously a very high upfront cost and takes up a lot of storage. But for me, this works since it's like my main source of income from my store. Option three is a print-on-demand service. So Printify, yes, the sponsor of this video, but hear me out because this is actually a really good option, is a site where you don't have to do any of the labor yourself. Like when I first sold my art online, I didn't have the capacity or the knowledge to do any of that myself. It was a really good option for me. It's a good beginner tool if you're trying to figure out what products sell and what don't. Like for example, I handmade a bunch of these tote bags and I thought they were so cute. It took days of cutting and designing and ironing on and buying the bags and the materials. Blood, sweat, and tears went into this bag. And when I posted it online, I didn't get a single sale. So I really think if I had tested it out by using Printify and see if there's any interest in this product, I think that probably would have been a better option and it would have saved me a lot of time that I wasted. And tragically, I think it probably would have been better quality than this. I don't know why there's little dark marks on it. So the nice part about something like Printify is you get to try out a few different products without buying it all in bulk. So you could try some popular items like stickers and buttons and prints, and then even some merch like tote bags and t-shirts. So I recommend always checking the best sellers first so you really get a finger on the pulse. But it's not just a tool if you're a beginner, it's also a pretty good intermediate tool just for people who don't want to deal with manufacturing and shipping. So if you want to store but don't want to print things yourself, don't want to buy the packaging and the mailing supplies, don't want to mail it yourself, then this is also a good option. So the way that I would use Printify is connecting it to my Squarespace site and just add the products that I don't want to deal with the headache of manufacturing and shipping, like t-shirts or tote bags. So now you have a couple ideas on how you can host your online store, manufacture your products, and even an idea of what type of stuff you can sell. Hopefully my insights and my tips are helpful and inspire you to make that jump into selling your own art online. Trust me, you'll never think it's the right time. You'll never have the confidence to think that you can do this. You just have to make that leap of faith and try. Start small, only sell a few products, test the waters. Maybe even limit the countries that you ship to make it easier. Maybe even start with just digital goods, like an online zine or maybe even commissions. But if you really want to make money off your art, you can do it. So I'd love to hear your stories on how you started selling your art online. So you can comment those below because I love to hear it. And you could also subscribe. There's no harm in that. Thank you as always for watching my videos. It's very cool. I really like that. Okay, bye.